Hello everybody, De Klerk here with De Klerk's motorcycle mechanic tips. So the Africa Twin's been fixed and I thought I'd give you a sneak peek of me fixing the Speedo gear and Speedo cable for a bike. So most of your older bikes, even some of the newer ones, will have the same Speedo system with the cable system. So if you want to know how to fix a Speedo, follow along in this video. What we need to do first is we need to get to our wheel itself, to the front axle, because to remove the Speedo gear and the entire Speedo setup, you need to first remove your front axle. On some bikes you don't, but most bikes, and I mean like 99.9% of bikes, you will first need to remove your Speedo, your axle, to remove your Speedo. So what you need to do when removing the axle is, you'll see around the axle you have these 4 bolts. Okay, so you need to loosen the bolts. You'll have to loosen the front first and then the top, and then when you tighten the top first, then the bottom, and the same thing on the other side. So I'll just remove this off camera so that we can do this on the same side, so that you can remove the axle. Because see, this is your Speedo. The cable goes up into your display unit or whatever, on the electronic bikes or TFT, on the older bikes, into your analog system. So first the top, then the bottom, and then when retightening, first the top, when loosening the bottom, then the top, and when tightening the top, then the bottom. Okay. On this side there are no clamps that you have to loosen, so you only have to loosen these clamps here to remove the front axle. So once I've loosened the clamps, I'll be back with you. Okay, so I've loosened these bolts that hold the front axle. So now what you do is you turn this front axle loose all the way out. Just make sure you use something to tighten your bike at the back, because most bikes fall forward if the wheel is loose, and you don't want your bike falling forward and damaging something at the rear. Okay, so after loosening the clamp bolts, you can now just screw out your axle all the way. So just get someone or something to hold the back of your bike. Over there to Kyle,
the Squirrel Squad.
The Squirrel Squad on TikTok. Okay, when you take out the axle, you can just bring your wheel out a bit, okay, and then you'll see your Speedo should come right out, and the spacer from the other side. Okay, Kyle, los liggies. Kyk gou of hy vorentoe kom. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so then this is where our problem is lying. It's either with the gear here. Yeah. So if you see here, this gear is what drives your Speedo cable. So seeing as the gear is still intact, I'd reckon it's the Speedo cable that went. Okay. Alright, so this is how the Speedo works. When this gear is turned, you'll see it moves up here. Ek hoop julle kan dit sien. It moves up there, and then that turns the cable that goes to the Speedo. After checking that the Speedo gear and the gear system that translates the lateral motion to horizontal forward motion is still working, we now know it has to be the Speedo cable. So that's a quick fix, but I'll have to do that tomorrow because I don't have a Speedo cable on hand. But at least now we know. Okay, so last time what we did is we saw that the Speedo was not broken at the gear part by the wheel. So today what we'll be doing is we'll be taking off the display where the Speedo, the physical Speedo display is, taking it off, pulling out the Speedo cable and seeing if it snapped off somewhere, and that's how we'll find the problem. I removed the entire cowl, and then I checked the cable. So I removed the entire display for the Speedo and the rev counter and everything. And then what I did was I put a bit of tape on the cable, and I turned the wheel to see if the cable was turning, and it was turning. So it's not the cable that's the issue. So it must be something in the Speedo itself, which I'll still have to check. Then the other thing I did was I removed the trip master, as it's also not working. Every electronic bit of this bike got damaged when the regulator rectifier gave its trouble. So I even have to put new globes in the display, or in the Speedo display, so that I can see at night. So I got globes as well, and I'll quickly replace them too. But now I'm going to check electronically whether it's the cables coming to the trip master that have an issue, or if it's the trip master itself that has an issue. So you'll see another time lapse, and that's just going to be me putting new globes in the center display, and then checking the trip master cable connection if there is power. Okay, so after testing with the multimeter, I saw that there's power coming through to the connector that connects into the trip master. So the problem, unfortunately, has to be lying at the trip master itself. Yeah, so that's a lot more work. And then I now have new globes in the Speedo, so it has backlights. So now I'll be able to see my revs in the evening, but still not my speed, evening or day, since my Speedo still isn't working. So everything's back on now, so now we'll have to wait for. I in any case ordered a new clutch cables so that I can put a brand new one on. But slowly but surely the bike is becoming new again. Also ordered a new exhaust, Dakar Rally replica from Arrow, so it's gonna sound nice with that one. And then yeah, after that the bike is roadworthy now. Yeah, so it's lacquer.